Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be giving a brief introduction to customized learning. For those of you who are less familiar with the concept, the way I define it is customized learning is piecing together elements from one or more sources in order to create a modular but comprehensive education that can meet an individual's needs. That means that the learning pathways of different individuals can look very different. Because of the differences in strengths and weaknesses, preferences and goals, and how they change over time. And if this sounds at all familiar, it's because that's how adults learn. We encounter challenges that require us to learn new skills and knowledge or to grow as people, and we piece together what we need in order to get from A to B. How can someone follow a customized learning pathway? So there are two options. One is to enroll in an education program that allows for some degree of customization. The other option is to independently create your own customized education. In the first option, there are different levels of customization. Some programs will allow a great deal of freedom to learn whatever, however, and whenever one wants. Others will have a few required program elements and then an a la carte menu of classes, workshops, tutoring, and mentor sessions, and other offerings sprinkled throughout each day. Others will have a set curriculum that students are expected to follow, but that they can do on a self-paced basis. And these programs can be online, they might be in person. So there's really a very wide range of options. The option of doing it yourself means that you can do it however you want, and the styles are just limited only by imagination and resources, whether that is resources in the form of time or money or a support network of some sort. So doing it yourself, it is more work, but it's doable. It's been done by many different people of different socioeconomic levels, different family structures, and so on. So the elements can be put into two broad categories, informal and formal. The formal being the things that people tend to think of when they think about educational opportunities, the informal being the things that we don't necessarily consciously think of as educational, but through which just as many, if not sometimes more, things can be learned versus formal routes. So the informal can include everything from conversations, all sorts of books and websites, video games, especially if they're actually engaged with rather than, just mindless one-way kind of action. But if someone is engaging in something, whatever kind of game, they're usually learning a surprising number of things in some cases. Self-directed play, observation, reflection, documentaries or other films, and basically any sort of life activity you can think of can be educational. Then the formal can include part-time programs at homeschool resource centers, the cohort-based, meaning that it's with the same group of children over a long period of time. A la carte is usually more casual, where people are taking this class with this cohort of people and this other class with a different group of people and kind of piecing it together that way. Textbooks, websites, such as Khan Academy is one of the well-known ones that has all sorts of videos on many different topics. There are quote unquote complete curriculum packages where people can just take what they want out of them and leave the rest. There's no requirement, if you're doing this on your own, to follow the quote unquote complete package if it doesn't suit your needs fully. There are topic specific software packages, online and offline classes or tutoring sessions through organizations such as outschool.com is one of the best known ones, but there are many different people offering such things, including just individuals in the community who might have subject area expertise and are offering classes, field trips, and all sorts of programs run by all sorts of institutions or organizations, I should say. So how do you put the pieces together on a day-to-day level? Basically, it can be done in any way that works for a family's personalities and preferences. And I specifically mention family here because it's about more than just the single learner. It has to work for everyone, especially if, you know, other members are being relied on for transportation or for any other type of support. One common way to start is to look at the high priority activities that occur at set times, put those on a schedule, and then figure out how to fill out the rest of the schedule. And there are different ways to fill out the schedule based, again, on preferences. Some people prefer to have a set daily schedule, for instance, academic work in the mornings and group work or free-form things in the afternoons. Some prefer to set goals for an entire term and then work backwards in order to figure out, okay, what needs to be done this week and then next week and so on, and fill out their schedule week by week like that. Some prefer a flexible, somewhat flexible schedule with an emphasis on projects, but sprinkling more intentional core skills development work in between working on project things. And some people prefer just to take a very spontaneous approach, just taking it day by day, week by week, taking advantage of opportunities as they present themselves. And what most people find is that if they are focused on necessarily doing core skills work as well, that the core skills things can be taken care of in anywhere between, let's say, an average of about 1.5 to 3 hours a day, is typical, especially for kind of younger children. And then that leaves a lot of time for more discretionary activities and for just recreational and family time. The primary challenge of doing it yourself is finding the community and connection that isn't as accessible as enrolling in a program that comes with that. Families do tend to form supportive social circles. And another option is to join an online or an in-person organized community, which might meet anywhere from 1 to 5 days a week in order to provide community and support. So how to ensure that the essentials are covered and how to assess the learning. So one way to think about it is to think back to when children were babies or toddlers, and how did the parents know that they were learning what they, quote unquote, needed to be learning? Are realistic goals being met? Just using observation and intuition. As children get older, it also can be useful to rely on some more formal tools, such as keeping a portfolio that makes it easier to compare and look for progress. There are also tests that can be used if they're useful in order to gauge where someone is at and what else might be useful to learn. And some people like to benchmark against published sets of learning standards. Other people prefer to develop their own learning standards, sometimes by working backwards based on, thinking about what a successful adult needs to learn, or someone who has a specific goal, such as to attend a specific type of college perhaps, or to gain some type of professional certification, or to hold a specific type of job, or just to be an independent, self-supporting adult regardless of profession. And then thinking about what kinds of things need to be developed, skills and knowledge in order to meet those goals, and figuring out, you know, how to break those down into achievable things at different ages and work toward those goals. An example of a portfolio, which sometimes are required depending on the jurisdiction where you live. It might be required to have portfolio reviews, and sometimes it's required to divide those into subject categories. And so people can list, for example, I mean, different jurisdictions have different requirements, so it's always imperative to check the specifics of where you live, but it can be something like listing examples of books that were read, websites that were used, software packages, classes, field trips, and so on. And with the understanding that this is not a complete reflection of what is learned. It doesn't include, you know, the more kind of abstract things like problem solving, creativity, communication skills, and so on. But anyway, it can be helpful. And where can people find help in putting together the pieces? There are a number of different websites and organizations that compile lists of programs or of blogs and other resources. There are listservs where questions can be asked. There are Facebook groups. There's word of mouth. Once you meet one person, they can introduce you to other people, and there are homeschool consultants that focus on specific things. And if you decide to go on this journey, remember that it's about the journey as much as the destination. So please enjoy it.